Hello, hello, Bravehearts. How's everybody doing? I want to make sure that you can hear me. So as you join, let me know that you can hear me. We have a special guest on today. I am so excited. It's going to be amazing. View request. Go live. You can hear me. Thank you. We are bringing Jake on. I'm just waiting for him to join. Jake! I can see you. Looks like you're there. Just waiting for a connection thing.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Oh no. Hello, hello. It's so nice to see your face.
How?
It's cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. We're gonna get this connection things figured out. Let's pause for just a second.
Okay.
Okay. I'm like, am I connected to Wi-Fi? I think I am. Okay. We're gonna try it now. How are you doing?
Okay. I'm so good. Well, it's morning for me, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone.
So exciting. I love it. I love it. I haven't seen your face in so long. My day was great. I had actually Tuesdays are like my coaching days where I get coached. So I had a coaching call in Coaching Masters where I'm going to become a master at my coaching. So good. I had an RCC follow-up or an RTT follow-up. I keep calling it an RCC.
What's RTT?
I don't know what they actually stand for, but it was this hypnosis style coaching where she puts me in a hypnosis and then we look at our underlying subconscious beliefs and where they come from, and it was super cool and amazing. And then I had
Is there pendulums involved?
No, no pendulums. No pendulums in that. It's simply it was really cool though. I had never experienced it. It was the first session that I had done. So that was cool to experience.
Wow, that's an amazing day. I love how you batch all of your coaching in one day. That's awesome. You must feel like you're cocooning and becoming a butterfly every day.
My brain is outside of me now. I love it. All right, so tell me, how are you? It's been forever. I kind of wanted to start by, number one, I want people to get to know you. So can you tell people your favorite color? What's your zodiac sign? What are your favorite things to do? Tell us a little bit about you first.
Yeah, so I'm Jake. My favorite color is yellow, like sunshine buttercup yellow. I'm a Virgo and a generator. I also found out my moon and sun rising, but I can't remember those. I think my moon rising's in Sagittarius and my and the other one. Anyway, I can't remember both of those. But I really love I'm a writer and an author, so I absolutely love reading and writing, all of those things. And I love candles and pot plants and yoga and Pilates and running. So that's my jam.
Amazing. I love it. So good. And Lauren just told us that it's rapid transformational therapy is what RTT stands for. So
good. Okay. I love that.
Yeah. I love it. So do you know your Enneagram? I'm glad you brought up human design. Do you know your Enneagram? I just learned about this yesterday.
No, not yet. I have a reading next week and maybe I'll learn that. But yeah, no, I don't. What's an Enneagram?
It's like a number. I don't know anything about it. It's like a personality test. It's like a number, and you take an assessment. It reminded me of all the other assessments that you might have taken, if you're really into psychology. What's the other one? Myers-Briggs. It was very similar to that kind of vibe. And then at the end, it gives you like percentages of the numbers that you are.
That's
So
amazing. No, I
it
haven't
was
done
super
that,
fun.
but
Again,
oh.
just another assessment tool. Well, okay, so the other thing, Jake, that I wanted to talk to you about is how we met. Because
Yeah.
I remember my first can I tell you my first memory of you?
Yes, please.
It's a very fond memory. Um, so Jake, I met Jake in my Instagram DMs, and it was fabulous and amazing. And I remember he reached out to me, and it was like the first time someone had used the voice memo thing with me via Instagram. And it was so magical and so cool. And he was talking to me about how he was like across the world and you were listening to the podcast and I was crying about something. And as per usual, and then you were crying with me as you were listening and you were baking a pie at the same time. And I was like, oh my gosh, this person is meant to be in my life for forever. I like am so grateful. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Um, so I have such a fond first memory of you.
Yeah, I remember that very clearly. I was actually cooking dinner for a date that was coming over, and I was listening to your podcast. And very funnily enough, I don't have this very often that when I hear other people cry, I start crying. But for some reason, I was listening to your podcast, and would have been last year, and it was around the time that you were recollecting around your birthday, and you were talking about your past self and how much love for you had for her. And you reflecting on that made me reflect on me. And I just really connected with that. And it was the first time that I had really emotionally connected with someone's podcast. So I loved it.
That means so
Yeah. And I
much to
literally
me,
I
Jake.
started crying as I was listening to it. So
I love you so much. You're the best. You're just the best. Okay, so let's talk about all the things. For anyone
yeah.
who's new to this like mini series that I'm doing, which might be all of you, so that's also totally fine. But I decided that I wanted to bring on Braveheart alumni who went through the Get Over Your Ex program, and I was like missing my Bravehearts from the beginning. And so I was like, I want to check in with them. I want to chat. I want to see what they're up to. One of my biggest things is I'm all about helping people heal their hearts so that they can go on and help heal the world in their own unique ways. And so I have so many Braveheart alumni who have graduated the program and like gone on to do amazing things in their life, Jake being one of them. And so I thought it would be fun to bring them on to talk about their experience and then talk about how they've applied all of this to their life and how they're helping heal others in their own unique ways. So, Jake has so many fun things to talk to you guys about today. And I think the very first thing that I want to talk about is just go ahead and start, Jake, by kind of letting us know what was your heart healing journey like? How did it start? Where'd you go? What'd you do? Anything that you want to share, anything that you feel comfortable to share around that.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a beautiful question. So, I love looking back. I think this is such a wonderful thing you're doing because it's really encouraging people to look back at where they've come from. And I was just speaking to my roommate today about it. She's like, wow, it's really been a year. I was like, it's really almost been a year. Um, I came to you, I think, grieving three accumulated relationships. And I think I hadn't actually started grieving the first one, and I had just broken up with the third one. Ups were unusual, but they propelled me into huge transformational growth. But really, I came to you because I felt like I didn't have the tools to really get over my ex. I was still in this phase of believing that people months and months and months after breaking up with their ex should not be over them, or it was okay to not be over them. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but really, I was still feeling all of these emotions about it, and I needed to do
Mm.
something about it. and I really wanted to do something about it. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, yeah.
I love it. So good. Well, and I
Mm,
remember we did so much work on all three of those, and you really got over three people
mm,
all at once, which was amazing.
mm.
Tell us a little bit about what were your biggest like takeaways, what were your most favorite parts, or maybe like surprising parts of going through that journey.
I really like the idea that you get what you put out of it. So you give so much information and so much resources and tools, and you're basically like, you will get what you put out of it. So I really loved how the program encouraged you to do all of that, and you're always there giving extra coaching and feedback and homework. And what I think is really amazing about that from my perspective is I just soaked all of that up. I was like, give me it all.
Mm,
And that's what was really
mm,
surprising is the amount of value that was in the program for me in particular, and how much you
mm.
learn. And I know, I know this sounds so silly, but I was like, I did actually, like, I did get over my ex, really thought, and I'm sure there's so many people out there who are like, I'm just the only one that won't, kind of thing. Um, so yeah, and just go in the program and deep dive into it because there's so many things that you cover, and I'm sure it's grown and enriched even more since I've just built and it's gotten even richer. So
Oh,
that's so exciting.
mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. I think it's like so, and like the whole community aspect of it has been really fun
Hmm.
too, which I've really enjoyed. So tell us, how have you taken those tools and beyond, like utilize them beyond heartbreak now? Like tell us all the things that you're up to now, how you utilize those tools from the time that we ended up into the point where you are
Mm.
now.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the tools that you learn, that you learn within the program are like evergreen in the sense that once you see them, you can't unsee them. It brings this beautiful clarity and consciousness to your life. So I think that's actually, to go back to the question beforehand, that's one of the biggest things that I didn't foresee happening. And I get that you would say it all the time. It's like build a life better than the one that you had with your past partner kind of thing. And I was like, okay, it was just I heard it, but really understand it in application. So it's the tools that you learn that you can apply to every
Mm,
different part of your life. But for me, I think really gaining awareness of my thoughts has really helped in every single area of my life and really going and getting what I want. So I think since ending the program, it's really helped me actually continue through a pandemic, if I'm honest. Like,
yeah.
that's the first thing. Um, we're still in lockdowns here in Melbourne and we're in really tight restrictions. So having that awareness to go through that and manage my mind through that first and foremost has been amazing, but also navigate all of my relationships. Really, amazingly, this program really helped my relationship with my mom. I really reconnected with her. That was really, really surprising for me. Okay, hello.
Hello.
I've just turned off my Wi-Fi. Let me see if this works, but I don't know if it will.
Okay, that's totally fine. We'll try it one more time. If we
Okay.
lose you again, we'll just like reschedule for a day where maybe the Wi-Fi is better or we have a
Yeah.
different connection or something, but we'll try again at a different time if this doesn't work. Okay.
It's so good because I have like the best internet plugged into my computer, but I don't know what's going on here. It's crazy.
I'm so sorry. I wish there was
No,
something I could do to fix it.
no,
Okay, so
it's
yes,
so
tell
fun.
us all about your book. Can you tell us the name of it? Are you allowed to? I don't know what all you're
Yeah,
allowed to share versus not. So tell everyone what the name is and like all the things.
totally. So it's called The Department of Heartbreak,
Hmm.
which I think is so crazy. Like it's literally a book about, it's a fictional fantasy, modern adult fantasy romance is actually the genre. And I wrote it like years ago before I even met you, which is insane to me because it's all centered around breakups and heartbreak and all of that good stuff. And as I was saying, I had this moment where I was going through a breakup and I was laying on the kitchen floor crying and I was really alone and I felt isolated and all the things. And I was like, wouldn't it be amazing if like an imaginary friend popped up right now and just was there to like hold my hand and have a cup of tea with me and help me process the pain and then just leave once I was happy or
Mm-hmm.
over that heartbreak kind of moment in time. Um, and so I don't know if many people know this, but there's this program called NaNoWriMo, which happens every November. Have you heard of it?
No.
No, so I don't actually know exactly what the acronym stands for, but it's like National Writers Month. And basically the whole idea is that in the month of November, you write a book if you so want to. You take up the challenge.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So I used to work for a tea company called T2, and one of my good friends there, who's the tea sommelier, she's also a writer, and she joined NaNoWriMo with me, and we set out to write a book together, like each in the month of November, and I started writing that book.
Oh my gosh, did you write the whole book in a month?
I got about like 60% through the book.
Yeah, still, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
I love it. Um, can I tell people about the section where that you gave me?
Yes.
Can
Yeah,
I? Because I'm just so
totally.
excited. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Actually, you
So,
say it. You talk about it because
yeah.
I could sit here and talk about it, but it's your book. So you tell people about it because I'm so excited.
Yeah, totally. So basically, the whole premise is the main character wakes up in this place called the In-Between, and he has no idea of who he is or how he got there. So he has amnesia. And it's this concept that when your soul is disconnected from its body, it enters a place called the In-Between, and it has a purpose while it's there. It gets sorted into one of the seven departments. There's like the Department of Life, the Department of Death, the Department of Love, et cetera, and the Department of Heartbreak. So anyway, he goes back to Earth as a spirit and helps people through their heartbreak. That's the concept. And I guess the kind of complication is that he does end up falling for one of his assignments or charges. He was also going through a breakup. And then once he has helped that person, if once they've healed from their breakup, that character will leave. His name is Henry. Henry will leave and they'll forget that he ever existed. So anyway, I was going through one of the rounds of drafting with my editor, and she advised that there is this section that needs to kind of orient the main character Henry back into the world. So he's gone out and he gets a couple of assignments, and yeah, she's like he needs to come back and he needs to understand the rules of the world. And so he meets a character very inspired by you, basically. So her name is Daphne.
Oh my God. Like literally when I was reading it too, it sounds just like me. I am obsessed. You like captured it so well. I could not.
It was so funny because in the editing phase, one of the editors removed like OMG and she changed it to oh my God. I'm like, no, that's not how Daphne speaks / Dorothy. It's OMG.
So good. I love it. I love it so much. I'm so pumped. It is going to be such a great book. I can't wait to read it. When does it come out and how can people get it? Do you know yet?
Yeah, no. So I did actually just get an offer from a publisher. But yeah, I know.
Congrats! That's so
Thanks.
exciting.
So what's so crazy about this is like, um, I've had my own belief systems about publishing a book, and I never thought it was possible. And I respectfully declined their request to publish me because I just didn't feel like the right home yet. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that I find the right home. But that really, that was like an impossible goal for me to like get a contract from a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to find the right home, and the long and short of it is like I haven't found the right home yet, and when I do, I will totally publish it and I'll let you know. But
And
it's
whenever
still
it comes out,
yeah,
you're going to tell me so that I can tell all the Bravehearts so that they can go buy the book. That's going to happen.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I love so really the book is just a metaphor for there always being hope after heartbreak, or in the sense of like there's always a new beginning and there's always love in unlikely possible like excuse me, unlikely circumstances. Um, and yeah, it's just a really fun, fresh take on a modern kind of love story. So, and so because the main character is effectively a spirit or a ghost, he can't, you know, kiss or touch his the person that he falls in love with. And so it's like this whole story around two people who can't actually connect or kiss or touch. And when Felix, his charge, gets over his heartbreak, then Henry will disappear and they'll ever forget that they knew each other.
It's so crazy.
It's like, how did they get together? So, yeah.
Oh, I love it. And you've been up to so much. So you've been up to that. You had it written before we met, but then you were like going through the editing process and all of that stuff. You added Daphne. I love you. And then what else have you been up to? Can we talk about CCP? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm writing another book as well. So that's called The X Factor. Totally unrelated to the Department of Heartbreak, but that's all about how exes can influence your life and come back and kind of stir stuff up. But I'm writing that as well. And then, yeah, totally. A couple of months ago, I joined CCP. So that's Coach Certification Program through the Life Coach School. And yeah, I really want to go on to help creatives, coach creatives, because I am a creative. So, and you've obviously gone through it. Like it's a beautiful, breathtaking, incredible, expansive experience. And I was not completely prepared for how so that would be and how really it changes your life. So yeah, I'm really fortunate enough to be in the group that is selected. Like we're all like coaching each other and stuff like that. And I have a couple of close friends that I have kind of set up a little Slack space, and I coach them, and I'm kind of running through material with them. So yeah,
I love it. So good. It makes my heart melt when my Bravehearts go on and become coaches. Like I cannot. There's just something about that is just so powerful to me. There's not going to be enough of us in the world. I think it's going to be like personal trainers where you just like everyone has one.
Oh, absolutely. Like, and that's the other thing as well, like the tools, but really I can't remember where I heard this, Dorothy, but it's like you always have your connection to your first coach. It's like the first coach that you meet is your coach for life, the first one.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's
I very much agree.
Yeah, like the vibe, all of it. And it's all about personal preference, taste, and style. And, you know, obviously, I have been coached by other people, but it's not the same. Like, you're the OG. I love it.
Right? And we just connected on such a deep level. I just love us.
Yeah, seriously. I love you. I love us loving us.
So good. So good. Okay, what else? Is there anything else that you feel like would be fun to talk about? Tell me anything else that came up between the last, I mean, we've talked. That's another thing too, is we've talked a lot in between since everything, and I feel like you keep me up to date, which I love. Thank you so much for doing that. Always do that. Don't ever stop.
No, like totally. I think that's really important, and that it's all about that connection for me as well. And, you know, as you said, some Bravehearts go on and they just live their life, chase their dreams, and that's that. But I obviously have a real sense of connection with you. But yeah, now that the connection's so much better, I feel like I just needed to turn off Wi-Fi. So sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. It's like you think Wi-Fi is the solution when in reality it's like thought work sometimes. Something you think is the solution is actually what's keeping you from what you want.
Yes, actually, that's a really great point. So I think like the next level of coming out of the program is really nurturing, not using these tools against yourself. And that's something that, so towards the end of our program together, this is actually a really good point. I'd love to bring this up for anyone. I really became interested in the calendaring process. And I learned that in a pandemic. So what that meant for me, maybe subconsciously reflecting, was I kind of use the tools of like calendaring to schedule the time not to kind of be in my emotion with the pandemic. So from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep, I was measuring my productivity based off what I did and what, I was getting done.
Yes.
And so that's one really good example of once you kind of master a skill, really reassessing, like, is this serving you? How is this serving you? Are you using this against you? Remember that these tools are here to work in alignment with you. And I came out of, a COVID kind of hangover being like, I need to control my time 100% of the time. And that's actually not possible.
And then also it's such a different environment. Like COVID in lockdown in comparison to like real life, seeing other people, having other things to do. And like, does it need to be so structured?
Yes. And I think that's what is so funny about stuff like that and like getting into the calendaring side of coaching. It really attracts that personality type, which is me. And then kind of funnily enough, like it made me take a step back and be like, well, what do I really value? Like, where do I really want to go? Like, I can actually just not go on my calendar and go for a sunset walk if I want to. So it's really encouraging people that once they learn these concepts to really hold them close and like look at your relationship with them and really ensure that you're not using them against yourself, because they're there to aid in your life, not hinder.
Yes. And a lot of the tools that we use to try and like manipulate things in our life are actually there for awareness purposes, not to like manipulate something. So I think that's something too that gets brought up in just like the thought work genre is, oh, I'm supposed to just change my thoughts so that I can feel better. And it's like, no, we use it as an awareness tool to decide, is this what we want to be making it mean? Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. And like neither of it is right or wrong. And it doesn't have to be so black and white, all or nothing. And that is like a next level. I'm actually really glad you're bringing this up too, because I'm doing some things behind the scenes and I'm creating the alumni program. And I've been thinking a lot about when I set out to do something, what is my process? And I kind of love almost like, I love that you're bringing this up because it reminds me that in the beginning of that program needs to be like a buffer period of like learning to just be with the tools instead of like using the tools to get to a certain place. Like, what if you just allowed yourself to sit with the tools and not be so focused on a specific outcome? So that's important. I like that.
Yeah, I love that. I really want to ask you, can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can.
If that's okay. I don't know if you've shared or covered this, but like, I'd really love to know, like, when was the moment where you were like, I want to be a breakup coach?
So I think it was before, okay. So my first, like, the first moment that I was like, oh, there's coaches in the world. What is coaching? Was with Jen Sincero. I read her book, You Are a Badass, and she talked about coaching. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what was happening in sessions of coaching, like, but I knew about coaching. And then I was like doing fitness at the time, and I had a YouTube channel called Bench Babe.
Love that.
It had a theme song. It had the whole thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so I was like I was on Instagram, lifting weights, talking positivity, like drinking the Jen Sincero Kool-Aid, and loved all of that. And I was still like, that was the time that I was Googling, how do you get over your ex? How do you forgive and let go? So I was like meditating, I was working out, I was like reading self-help book after self-help book, but still internally I felt like I was dying. But on the outside, I looked like really great. So people were like reaching out to me at that point, being like, oh my gosh, you look like you're doing so well. I just went through a terrible heartbreak. How did you get through it? Like, what did you do? This, that, and the other. And so I was giving them all like A-line, so action-oriented things. I was like, well, get yourself on a meditation routine, right? Start working out, have new experiences, travel, keep busy. All the things I was doing that were not really working, but I was like, they're kind of working. right?
Yeah.
And so that's when I realized I was like, and once I ran into the Life Coach School podcast and learned that thoughts created feelings and
Mm.
everything clicked for me. And then I had my first coach, had my first session, and was able to like release everything and get over my ex in a moment. That was my
Mm.
point where I was like, this is what I meant to fucking do, because
Yeah.
this is what actually getting over your ex looks and feels like. This is a
Yeah.
completely different way that didn't take any time. Yes, I can do all of those other things. And it's not to say that they're like not good or you shouldn't do them, but it isn't
Mm.
what treated the root cause. And when I realized
Mm.
like we weren't treating heartbreak from the root cause, we were just treating heartbreak symptoms, that to
Yes.
me was like, it was a dire need, and it almost just like came from the inside out of like, that is my mission. Like I genuinely
Yeah.
believe like that's my soul's mission on this earth, is to help people learn that and see that. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get
Yeah.
certified. And my dad was not for it. He was like, you just got out of grad school, you have so much student loan debt, why would you ever do that? Like, why didn't you just become a psychologist like I told you to, and go get your PhD?
Mm.
Like, so it was just very foreign at the time, but I just like knew it in my bones. It didn't mean that I
Yeah.
wasn't scared. Like, I was definitely scared, and I didn't know how I was going to come up with the money and like all the other mind drama stuff that comes up. But I knew it in my bones that that is what I was meant to do. And so once I started the Life Coach School CCP coach training, um, I went through it the whole time knowing I'm going to niche on
Mm-hmm.
breakups. I'm going to be the breakup
Oh,
coach. And so I was really kind of lucky in that. I never really had niche drama that I know so many coaches
yeah.
go through.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is my calling. This is what I'm going to do. And then once you got out of coach training, I just instantly started being like, yeah, I'm doing breakups, and started applying it all towards breakups, and then taking everything that I could and like putting it in breakup terms and words, and help like talking to someone who's going through a breakup like instantly. That was the first thing I started funneling my energy into.
That's really fantastic. I think two things there. The first is when you were saying that, I could picture it. And then the second thing, whenever someone in certification says certified, I immediately want to go to certified freak 7 days a week.
So good. So good.
I don't know why. I'm just like,
Yes.
certified. My friend, when I said, oh, I'm doing certification, she's like, certified freak.
Yes.
Like 7 days
I
a
mean,
week. That,
really, really.
that's very similar to me. Like when I was like, okay, what do I want to do? I think it's like leaning exactly on my strength, which is creativity. I've never had an issue with that in the
Mm-hmm.
sense of like, it's just always flown for me. So anyway, I love that. Thank you
I
so
love
much for
that
sharing
too.
that.
And Jake, that's kind of fascinating, because I remember I grew up thinking I wasn't creative.
Oh, everyone's creative.
That's what my brother says. My younger
Yeah.
brother, because he's like artistic and like does
Mhm.
photos and like abstract things and is in a band. And he grew up telling me that, and I like did not believe him until like I ran into all of this work. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Everyone's creative in their own way. And like, even if you just strip out the idea of creativity, like everyone creates something in their life.
I love
You wake up
that.
every day and you create something. So yeah, that's a beautiful story. And I think it's so necessary, um, having breakup coaches. Seriously. And you're the
Mhm.
breakup coach.
I
So
am. I
you
am. I
are.
remember being,
Yeah.
well, and I even remember when at the life coach school at one point we had like a Slack channel for coaches, and I was
Yeah.
pretty sure like I was the only one in there that was a breakup coach, and I was like, I love this so much. So
That's
good.
amazing.
I loved
So,
it.
sorry, I think I interrupted you. You were talking about like alumni and that program. Did we want to circle
Oh
back
no,
there
no,
or
no, no,
no?
no. You didn't interrupt me. I was just mentioning
Okay.
that because I was like so glad that you brought up the part about like afterwards not using the
Mm,
tools against yourself, and like that's a
mm,
whole learning curve, because that's a
yeah.
skill. So you build the skill of using the tools, and then you have to build the you can go through two extremes. You can go to the extreme of like overusing the tools, and then the extreme of not using the tools enough, and like learning that balance is so important.
Mm,
And finding the
absolutely.
alignment for like you.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that's a whole process, and there's a real learning period. Absolutely, and I like that kind of like playground of here are the tools and here's just the time where you learn them and you refine them. And with the calendaring process, the first thing that they tell you is like schedule your free time first. And here I am being like, no, really, I'm going to schedule every minute by the minute. And it's like, and I used it against myself to feel amazing in the moment. I remember in our program, there was like one week where I was like, Dorothy, I did everything. And it feels amazing. And I look back at that version of me being like, of course you got that, like, that hit of good feeling. But now I'm really understanding what it's even just like to have nothing on my calendar and do nothing sometimes.
Yes. Which, and also, as we're talking about calendaring, I feel like I need to call out the calendar queen, which is Lauren Cash.
Yes.
So if you want to learn more about calendaring, you want to learn more about that and like dive into that deep work there. Lauren Cash, Vivere Co. She is what she is on Instagram, and she has a program called Cultivate Margin, which is amazing and beautiful and such a good tool to use if you've gotten into calendaring and want to dive into it more.
Yeah.
She's the calendar queen.
I love that, calendar queen.
Yeah, and I shouldn't even say calendar queen. I think she's more about time. She's a time queen. And how time's not real. We could go down a whole rabbit hole about time, but that's fine. Oh, I love it. So what's on your horizon? What's coming up? What are you excited about?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm excited that we're going into spring. Sorry, I know that you've just come out of summer.
I live in Florida now, so it's not really that big of a problem anymore.
Oh, great. That's so good. I always still find it so fascinating, like the other side of the world, maybe not now in Florida, but it's getting cold and stuff, and we're just cracking through sunshine past 6 p.m. and sunshine in the morning. So, and it's the small wins, Dorothy, around COVID. I'm just excited for the weather.
Yes. Even when it's not COVID, though, I'm excited for the weather. So I feel you.
Yeah, this is so random and so lame, but we have I live right opposite the beach, and we have train construction at the moment. They're like digging trains to go underground to reduce railroad congestion. So I'm excited for that to end so I can go back and run on the beach. That's on my horizon. Literally horizon.
I love it. So good.
But finishing CCP and really working with creatives will be the next thing that I'll be starting, as well as finding the right home for my book, The Department of Heartbreak, and writing. I think I'm 80% of the way through my new book, so writing that as well.
So exciting. And if people want to find you because they're a creative and they want help creating, they want help creating is what they want help with, right?
So I really want to work with creatives. I haven't completely fleshed this out, but to declutter their creative process. So
ooh, I like it.
Yeah. If you want to create something and you're stuck or you're time poor, indecisive, or fatigued, then we can work out a process for you that is future proof. I don't know. I haven't completely figured it all out, but yeah, I'm at the other night with a K.
I love it.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, so that's where you guys can find Jake if you want to talk to him about that, which is so good, or if you want to talk to him about his book, because it's both of your books. I cannot wait. I literally see those books sitting on my shelf. Who's doing the artwork?
I don't know yet. I'm not sure.
I hope that you get to choose that. You get to choose that,
I do.
Right? Okay.
I mean, sorry, I do also hope I do, if that makes sense. Not always, depending on the publisher. So that's also one thing, yeah.
And it's your roommate or your best friend who's an artist? She does amazing art. I love watching her stuff on Instagram. That'd be cool if she did the art. That'd be cool.
I know. So my writing group published a book last year, and she did the cover art for that, and it was insane. She's off on her own wild journey traveling Australia now. So, and then my new roommate is also my other best friend. So, yeah.
That. I'm living with my best friend now too.
Yes! Isn't it the best?
It is. Literally.
It's actually so good.
Jake, time of my fucking life. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I want to live with you forever. Like, could you just not leave? And then
Yes.
when I like get married and have a baby, like he lives somewhere else. The baby can like be here with us and like
I love this because in a pandemic it was perfect because Bronnie, who was the artist, she was a yoga teacher. So I got like yoga lessons. And then Kezra is also a Pilates teacher. So I get like Pilates.
Oh my gosh, Jake, that's amazing.
I know.
That's fabulous. You just got set up.
I know. Love it.
My
Yeah.
roommate is an exhibit designer, so I don't really
Oh,
get
wow.
any. Well, actually, she does. When I first started my business, she helped me do some of the branding.
Okay. So she designs exhibits like
Like,
museum
yeah,
spaces.
not like really big. So if you ever go to a trade show
Mm-hmm.
and you see those
Okay.
big booths, she designs
Yeah.
those. Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, she's intense. She's
That's
probably one of the
amazing.
best in her industry too. She would die if I knew I was talking about this.
Okay. No one needs to know.
No.
Oh, that's
So good.
amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? I just miss you so
No.
much. It's so great catching
Yes.
up.
I love it. This is so good. Do more of
Yeah.
these. This is incredible.
Right? And I'm like, it's such a
Yeah.
great way to like catch up with people. I've got an entire lineup, you guys. We've got, I think next week, yeah, so next Wednesday, we're gonna meet Jocelyn, whom I love, this dear thing. So good. We
Mm.
also have Ashton, who is a cook, and we're gonna do wine night with her because she likes to do wine. So I'm like, let's do this on a Friday at 4 p.m. So fun. And then I actually go to Costa Rica that morning, the following morning, Saturday, which I'm super excited about for my projector playground thing that I'm in. I get to see Lauren Cash in person. I'm so
That's amazing.
excited.
In Costa Rica, you
I
guys get to
know.
travel? Oh,
I know. I know. I'm sorry.
that's okay. That's amazing, though. I'm so excited for you.
I am really pumped. It'll be the first time that I've traveled. Actually, it's not the first time I've traveled on an airplane, but the first time I've traveled internationally since the pandemic because I went to Bali
Yeah.
right before the pandemic. So that'll be
Yeah.
interesting. We do have to take COVID tests, which I'm like so down for. That can happen.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we got Jocelyn Ashton, and then the rest of the lineup I'm not recalling in my brain right now, but that's what's happening next
Mm.
week. So that'll be fun.
I love that. That's amazing. I can't wait to meet the rest of them and see what they're up to.
So fun. So fun. Awesome. Well, Jake, I love you so much. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming on
you.
and taking time to talk to us. I'm sorry about the issues in the like earlier with the connection, but I appreciate
No.
you for sticking it out and hanging out with me.
All I know now is like turn off my Wi-Fi and just connect to my phone data, which is so ironic. But I'm glad we got there and we got to a place where we're uninterrupted with the technologies.
Yes, so good, so good.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, you have an
Okay.
amazing day. You have a whole day in
Thank
front
you.
of you, and I will
I
talk to you
know.
later.
Okay. Mwah! Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.